In a small, remote village nestled deep within an ancient forest lived a young girl named Eliza. One cold autumn evening, while exploring the attic of her grandmother's house, Eliza stumbled upon a dusty, old chest. Curious, she opened it to find an intricately crafted porcelain doll, adorned in a crimson dress with delicate lace trimmings. Eliza was instantly captivated by the doll's beauty and decided to take it downstairs. Her grandmother, seeing the doll, grew pale and whispered, "That doll is enchanted, my dear. It belonged to your great-grandmother, and it holds a dark secret." Ignoring her grandmother's warning, Eliza placed the doll on her bedside table. That night, as the clock struck midnight, Eliza was awakened by a soft, melodic humming. She opened her eyes to see the doll standing at the foot of her bed, its glassy eyes gleaming in the moonlight. Terrified, Eliza tried to scream, but no sound escaped her lips. The doll began to speak in a voice that was both childlike and sinister. "I was made to bring joy, but I was cursed to bring despair. You have awakened me, and now I must play." The doll's tiny porcelain fingers began to grow and stretch, turning into long, sharp claws. It leaped towards Eliza, who could only watch in horror as the doll's face twisted into a grotesque grin. She grabbed the doll and threw it across the room, but it simply stood up, unscathed, and continued its advance. Desperate, Eliza remembered her grandmother's words about the doll's curse. She sprinted to her grandmother's room, pleading for help. Her grandmother, clutching an ancient book of spells, chanted a series of incantations. The doll shrieked in agony as it was pulled back into the chest, the lid slamming shut behind it. Eliza and her grandmother sealed the chest with a powerful spell, ensuring the doll would never escape again. From that day forward, Eliza never ventured into the attic, and the chest remained hidden, a silent reminder of the dark magic that once plagued their family. But sometimes, on quiet, moonlit nights, Eliza could still hear the faint sound of a doll's lullaby drifting from the attic, a chilling reminder that some curses never truly fade away. Years passed, and Eliza grew into a strong, cautious young woman. She moved away from the village, leaving behind the memories of the enchanted doll and the chilling nights of her childhood. However, fate had other plans. One summer, Eliza received a letter from her grandmother, now frail and nearing the end of her days. The letter pleaded with Eliza to return home and take care of the house. Reluctantly, Eliza returned to the village, greeted by the familiar scent of pine trees and the haunting silence of the forest. Her grandmother passed away peacefully soon after Eliza's return, leaving her the old house and its secrets. On the night of her grandmother's funeral, Eliza found herself drawn to the attic once more. As she ascended the creaky wooden stairs, she heard the faint echo of a lullaby, sending chills down her spine. Determined to end the curse once and for all, Eliza searched her grandmother's room for the ancient book of spells. She found it hidden beneath the floorboards, along with a note from her grandmother. The note revealed that the doll could only be destroyed by returning it to the place it was created, the heart of the ancient forest. With the book in hand, Eliza ventured into the attic. The chest remained sealed, but the air around it felt heavy with malevolence. She carefully opened the chest, revealing the doll, its eyes still gleaming with an eerie light. Holding her breath, Eliza wrapped the doll in a cloth and made her way into the forest. The journey was arduous. The forest seemed to come alive, whispering and rustling as if trying to warn her away. Eliza finally reached a clearing with a stone altar covered in moss. Placing the doll on the altar, she began to chant the incantation from the ancient book. As the final words left her lips, the ground trembled, and the doll's eyes began to glow with an intense, blinding light. A dark, shadowy figure emerged from the doll, screaming in fury as it was pulled into the earth. The doll shattered into pieces, the curse broken at last. Eliza stood there, breathless and triumphant, as the forest seemed to sigh in relief. She gathered the shattered pieces of the doll and buried them deep within the clearing, ensuring that the dark magic would never again plague her family. Returning home, Eliza felt a sense of peace she had never known before. The house, once filled with shadows and fear, now felt warm and inviting. She knew her grandmother's spirit was finally at rest, and with that knowledge, Eliza embraced her new life, free from the haunted past. Yet, she always kept the ancient book close, a reminder of the power of courage and the resilience of the human spirit. Years slipped by, and Eliza built a life filled with joy and fulfillment. She married a kind man named Thomas, and they had 2 children, Emma and Jack. The old house, once a place of fear, became a home filled with laughter and love. One crisp autumn afternoon, while playing in the attic, Emma discovered an old, forgotten chest. Eliza had thought she had destroyed all traces of the doll, but a second chest, identical to the first, lay hidden under years of dust and cobwebs. Emma's curiosity got the better of her, and she opened the chest to find another porcelain doll, this one dressed in a blue gown with silver embroidery. When Eliza saw the doll, a chill ran down her spine. She recognized it immediately. It was the twin of the cursed doll she had destroyed years ago. Her mind raced with dread as she remembered her grandmother's warnings and the battle she thought she had won. That night, Eliza placed the doll back in the chest and locked it away. She stayed up late, reading through the ancient book of spells, searching for any mention of a twin doll. She found a passage that spoke of 2 enchanted dolls created by a vengeful sorceress, each containing a part of her dark soul. Only by destroying both could the curse be fully lifted. Eliza knew she had to act quickly. She explained the situation to Thomas, who, though skeptical, agreed to help her. They decided to repeat the ritual in the forest clearing where Eliza had destroyed the first doll. As they prepared to leave, the air grew colder, and the house seemed to hold its breath. With Emma and Jack safely at a neighbor's house, Eliza and Thomas made their way to the clearing under the cover of night. They placed the doll on the stone altar and began to chant the incantation. This time, the ground shook violently, and a powerful wind whipped through the trees, extinguishing their lantern. From the shadows emerged a ghostly figure, more formidable and terrifying than the last. The sorceress spirit, fragmented and desperate, screamed in fury as it tried to resist the spell. Eliza and Thomas held their ground, their voices unwavering as they repeated the incantation. The doll began to crack, light pouring out from within. With a final, ear-piercing shriek, the spirit was sucked into the earth, and the doll shattered into dust. The forest fell silent, and a sense of profound peace settled over the clearing. Exhausted but relieved, Eliza and Thomas returned home. The house, now free from its dark legacy, seemed to welcome them with open arms. Eliza buried the remnants of the second doll beside the first, ensuring that the sorceress evil would never return. Life returned to normal, and the old house became a place of happiness once more. Eliza shared the story of the enchanted dolls with Emma and Jack, teaching them about bravery, resilience, and the importance of facing one's fears. The ancient book of spells remained in the attic, a testament to their family's victory over darkness. Eliza knew that while the past could haunt, it could also be conquered. And with her family by her side, she felt ready to face whatever challenges the future might hold.